What's up everyone, Moreland here with what is probably my most insane Shadow Arena match since the game entered beta as a standalone product. The game has had several closed betas this year, which I've streamed over on Twitch, but this time Pearl Abyss has sponsored me to bring some of that gameplay over to YouTube and share my thoughts with you all about how the game has come along. It's been about a year since Shadow Arena was removed from Black Desert and developed as a standalone game, and the new version does not require any previous knowledge from BDO, although many things will still look and feel familiar to BDO players. There have been so many changes and improvements that there are probably too many to list, so here's some brief highlights to get you guys caught up as we watch the beginning of this match. The first few minutes of each match are now called Grace Period. If you die during Grace Period, you are not eliminated. Instead, you will be launched in a random direction, costing you some time but still giving you a chance to recover. Players who die during Grace Period will not drop their gear. However, the killer will be rewarded with skill points, which can give them a very nice boost. Generic classes have been replaced with heroes such as Jordine, the Wolf of Serindia, who I'm playing in this match. Heroes are chosen before the match starts and no longer rely on any kind of randomness. Skill ups are also no longer random. You will earn skill points from killing monsters, killing players, or looting, and you can train your skills in any order, as well as invest additional points to increase a skill to level 2 or 3, which generally increases damage and lowers cooldown. Skill progression in the current version feels great and has none of the headaches from older versions. Pacing has also been vastly improved. Battle Royale games can suffer from two different issues with pacing. Either the game is too spread out and you end up playing a running simulator, or the game is too compact and it feels like you're forced to run and hide because fighting is too dangerous with 10 other people on the screen. Circle sizes and speeds have been fine-tuned throughout the beta, and I would say current pacing is very solid. Kills are extremely rewarding, even in dangerous situations. The player you kill will not only drop their gear, but if you get the killing blow, you'll be granted a massive defense buff for a few seconds, as well as some health regeneration to help you recover from the fight. Be warned, however, that if a third party interrupts your fight at just the right time, they can still steal that kill and steal those bonuses, forcing you to flee with low health and none of the loot. Loot itself has been made more useful through the fusing system. Even if you don't get lucky enough to pull top tier gear, you can now fuse 3 duplicate items into the next tier, so as long as you play aggressively, you probably will not be outgeared at the end of the match just because somebody had better RNG than you. Boss kills will now grant you a 5-minute buff that allows you to visit an altar on the map. These altars have a variety of bonuses, such as maxing out your skills, temporary stat buffs, the ability to see nearby players on your minimap, or, my favorite of all, the rare and powerful LAYTENN, which is insanely fun and will be showcased towards the end of this match. In addition to the in-game improvements, Pearl Abyss has also recently hosted a tournament with thousands of dollars in prize money, and it seems like they are planning to do more events like this in the future, which could be a great way to create some excitement around the game. Now that we've gone over the positives, here are some criticisms I have for the latest version of the game. The game added a progression system which allows you to level up heroes and earn certain bonuses. However, most of these bonuses in beta were just 1 to 2% damage boosts. While I understand that the developers probably don't want to add anything that would give too big of an advantage, I do think progression could be made more interesting or rewarding, even if it just comes in the form of new skins or other cosmetics. All characters now come with an AoE stun on their Q key, which acts as an iframe with a 3-minute cooldown. I found this ability to be overpowered and frustrating, since sometimes a 1v1 fight between two evenly matched players will be arbitrarily decided by who has their Q off cooldown and who doesn't. There's already a flash ability on E with a 1-minute cooldown that can be used to escape, so Q feels a bit overkill. I think Q should be limited to more extreme situations, such as when the player has received damage from 2 or more players within 5 seconds. And then finally, desync still has not been completely fixed. You'll see a pretty egregious example of this in a few seconds, when this Meiwa that I stun ends up teleporting on the ground to a new location 10 feet away. This sort of thing used to happen constantly, so seeing it only once during this match isn't too bad, but still, if that one desync ends up costing you the game, it's obviously pretty frustrating. In previous betas, this was a much worse problem, so the devs have significantly improved the issue. So here it is right here. And if they keep up the good work, we could see a final version where they've managed to work this out. But for now, we're just going to have to wait and see. Alright, with that out of the way, let's talk about the actual match that I'm in right now. I'm playing Jordine, my favorite hero. And in a second here, I'm going to get attacked by a Kuno. And as she jumps towards me, I use my shield charge to slide underneath her and then turn around and hit her with a jumping attack of my own. A lot of the attacks in Shadow Arena have CC now, and there's no CC limit, so you can string together pretty extreme combos as long as you don't miss your abilities. But a lot of times you're going to have to sort of predict where someone ends up. My skills here, I'll just kind of go through the whole layout in between fights. I have 4 different skills that I can level up, and then I have 2 extra skills that are static. It's the same thing for every other class. You have 4 skills, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then you have an F and a right click. So my number 1 skill is a spear throw that I can that has long range that will also knock down. My number 2 is a shield charge that will move me forward. It will do a short stun on whoever I hit it with, more of a setup stun than anything else. And it'll also provide me with a block while the skill is active, so I can use it to trade with someone else and hopefully get the stun while resisting whatever they're throwing it my way. Number 3 is that jumping skill that you saw a second ago. If I land that on someone, it will knock them down, and it does pretty good damage. It's also got super armor through most of the animation, although it's not completely safe. I'm still figuring that part out. And then my number 4 skill is Spinning Slash, which is a very slow damage dealing ability. That's the one I use right there. That sends them flying back, and then I can usually follow up with the jumping attack on 3 after Spinning Slash. So my kind of generic combo here is going to be catch somebody with the shield charge on 2, follow up with F, which is a short range quick little kick that'll knock them down, and then I'll hit them with a big Spinning Slash on 4 for damage and burst. That'll fling them backwards. I then jump on top of them using my 3 skill. So here we go, I'm fighting another Jordine here, and he does pretty much the same thing. He catches me with a spear or a kick there, and then goes straight into the Spinning Slash. Now, we're trading Qs here, and we have a bunch of other people who jump on top of us, so neither one of us really has time to do like a full perfect combo on each other there. And that's one of the things that makes fights in this game so crazy, is you've got to constantly adapt. Not everything is going to be like, oh, I caught this person off guard, and I can just do my bread and butter combo in exactly the order I want it. You might have different people who are interrupting your fights. You might have someone who, manages to dodge part of your combo and get out of the way. And so you've got to be able to kind of react based on what skills you still have left off of cooldown. And one of the things I like doing with Jordine here, he's one of the few characters who can actually block. He's got instead of an attack on his right click, he can raise his shield for a few seconds and block some incoming damage. It's not a super powerful block, but it's enough to negate maybe 1 or 2 abilities that are coming towards you. And since most characters in the game don't have any kind of block, they rely more on super armor or dodging, a lot of times people will sort of forget that you can do this. They'll throw a skill at you, and they'll think if the skill lands that they're good to go. But if you can block it with Jordine, you can kind of bait people into overextending or overconfidently attacking you. And then, you can react with that shield charge, which is a good trading skill, and set up a combo. So I really like playing this guy. I think he's pretty unique. I like what they've done to him as far as like what skills they kept from the original and what skills they changed. And as you can see here, we're going to end up having a pretty good game. I'm already 5 kills in to this match, and it's going to get much higher as the game progresses. So at this point, I'm looking to sort of track down any of the people that I was just fighting. It was a bit too much of a cluster earlier, so I didn't fully commit to a lot of the kills that we could have gotten a second ago, because I didn't want to get third-partied. I didn't want my kills to get stolen. But if I can find someone on their own like this, I just get a perfect combo in this guy. Everything lines up. I get the shield charge, I get the follow-up, I get the kick. And so there's not a whole lot that he can do about that. He needed to be sort of keeping his head on a swivel and seeing me coming before I was able to set him up like that. Here, I jump in. I kind of guessed that this Kuno is low because of the way she's running away from the Meiwa, and I'm able to steal that kill by jumping in with one of my main damage-dealing abilities. And then after that, I've stolen the HP regen and the defense buff from the guy that I just killed, so it's looking pretty ugly for the other Meiwa. I'm also out-gearing a lot of players at this point. You can see my name down at the bottom is yellow. You can also see the gear icons. I've got 4 yellow pieces of gear and 2 blue pieces of gear. gear goes white, green, blue, yellow, and then orange. So I'm pretty decked out here. Orange gear is very end game, and not a lot of people will have more than like 1 or 2 orange pieces in the final circle. So you rarely see someone who actually has an orange name. Usually a yellow name is the scariest that you're going to come up against someone towards the end of the game. And because of the sheer number of kills that I have, 8 kills at this point with 12 people remaining is pretty good. So I'm pretty geared, and I'm pretty confident that anyone I run into in a 1v1 situation right now, I can handle. And I might even be able to 2v1 them if it's people with green or blue names. So this Goyen down here is always going to be a threat. He's got really high burst and really high super armor. It's a very strong class for stealing kills. So I'm going to focus him and try to take him out here. Even though there's low health players behind me that I could turn around and look at, instead I'm going to tunnel on this Goyen because I want to get him out of the match. I don't want him turning around and stealing my kill while I'm going for that Haru or you know, one of the other people that was behind me. And so here I have a boss that's chasing me, and the boss will do good damage and stun. Goyen actually catches a stun from the boss right here, and so I literally just basic attack him down because I know that he's dead and I want to save my cooldowns. And now this boss actually puts me in a pretty interesting situation because I managed to get a free kill on the boss. No one else chases us down here, and I now have that icon above my head, that boss buff, which means that I can go claim one of the boss altars. So you'll see me kind of trying to decide what I want to do here. You'll notice the blue icon on the mini-map just at the edge of the screen there in the bottom part of the mini-map, and I'm kind of eyeballing that and thinking like, should I go for that? It's outside of the circle, so I'm going to be running into the dark fog and taking damage if I want to claim this bonus. But when I realized that the bonus is a Layten boss, I'm not going to be able to resist it. Layten is such a cool bonus. I've only been able to get this in one other game, and I I couldn't really control him properly, and I got like stuck in a building and died. So I haven't really gotten a chance to actually use this guy properly until this game. So I'm like, okay, let's do it. So I run out into the fog. I'm taking damage here, but it's not too bad. I've got lots of health potions, and the idea here is if you have the boss buff, you can walk over this altar, and then a few seconds later, whatever the buff of that altar is will spawn, and then you can claim it. So I come back and I break this thing down. I wait for the Layten to spawn in. I'm trying to not stay still because hungry black spirits are going to spawn on top of me and do more damage. So I'm moving around a little bit to minimize the damage that I take here, but ultimately I'm able to claim this Layten, and they've made some huge improvements to this guy. He's still pretty hard to control, and I think that's by design. So you can see me kind of like running into walls here and sort of figuring out what to do. I think that jump is new. I don't actually think he was able to jump last time I used him, so I'm thinking, oh, this is okay. Let's see what we can do here. And I'm trying to control the sprint. Once you start sprinting, you're pretty much like stuck going in that direction until the sprint wears off. So I'm trying to figure out, you know, what can I walk over? How big of an object is too big? What can I jump over? And I do lose a lot of health stuck in the fog trying to get out of that village. My Layten is already half dead by the time I get back into the circle, but people just don't know what to do when they see this giant, you know, ancient Terminator heading towards them. This other Jordine gets kind of brave, but I charge up a laser and blast him. And again, this is my first time being able to really attack with this guy, so I don't even know what he's capable of. I don't know how much damage to expect or what the range on these abilities is. I'm kind of just figuring this out on the fly. But already people are just scattering. If they had just walked up and like thrown some range damage at me even, then they probably could have killed me pretty quickly. Again, my Layten's already half health here just from the fog, but I think people are just too scared, and so I'm able to go on kind of a rampage here. I've got this yellow named Jordine who, you know, he does some damage to me, but he's already taken a big hit from that charged laser, so he's kind of scared. He doesn't really want to stay engaged. Here I predict him coming around the corner, and I just, you know, blast him, finish him off. There's a bunch of loot on the ground that I can't get because I'm too busy driving this mech. But man, I can't even, I hope you guys get to experience this. I don't even know how to articulate how fun this is, just walking around. It's like, I'm sure it would be less fun if people actually just got brave and came and killed me out of this thing, but the fact that everyone is fleeing makes it feel so much more enjoyable because I just have full reign here. There I'm just sprinting into the fog because again I'm like still trying to figure out how to control this. But yeah, I'm leading this guy on the other side of the rock. It takes a second to charge up that laser, so you kind of have to like predict where someone's going to end up. You know, here we get two people with one shot. One of them's almost dead. I go for the melee swing, but he's a little bit too far away. But it doesn't matter. He doesn't take any cover here out in the open. If they're not hiding behind a wall or something, you know, I'm just going to laser everybody that I see. So now I'm up to 12 kills. There's only 2 other people left in the match. And this is the last yellow name. The other remaining person doesn't really have any gear. And so... he goes behind the wall, and then I just predict when he's going to come back out and shoot him again. I don't think that there's really much space for them to be behind the wall there. I think it was all in the dark fog, so they didn't really have an option there. But it's just so funny to me. I mean, at this point, the Layton is literally 1 hit from dead, and people are still too afraid. I think the Black Spirit there might have actually finished it off. And so now I'm done with the Layton. I'm walking around picking up all the loot. I think you get additional points or additional like rank for how much gear you loot in a game. I'm not sure exactly how that works, but you know, I figure, hey, why not? Let's secure the win. I'll get as many points as I can here. I left all this loot on the ground. I find a couple orange items here, and the last guy that I'm fighting is just a green name, and I'm already halfway to orange, so he has just no chance whatsoever. I'm kind of just waiting for him to come out, and then when he does, I catch him with a spear around the gates, and then give him a nice single basic attack to finish it off. So there we go, 14 out of 35 other players killed. Shadow Arena will be free to play in early access on Steam starting May 21st, and then when the game completely launches, it's going to stay free to play. So be sure to check it out when the time comes. I'll put a link to the Steam page in the description. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you had fun, and I will see you next time.